Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the screen on this Dell Inspiron 5593. So first thing we're going to need is a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and remove all the screws from the bottom. Alright, the reason we need to do this is so that we can disconnect the battery. Otherwise, it's not going to be safe to work on the computer. Alright, it looks like that one screw in this corner is coming up with the cover. So yeah, you don't want to pull that one completely out. Let's see if this one does the same thing. And yes, it is. All right. And I didn't mention, but you want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like this. In the pattern, I remove them on my desk. Okay, so we have those two that came out. Then we're going to probably have these two and then these three. These corner ones seem to have like a washer or something that keeps it in place so that it actually makes it easier to take the bottom cover off because it actually makes a gap there. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers, so keep that in mind. By the time you see this video, I very likely won't have the computer on hand. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue with the disassembly. Okay, so again, as you remove these screws, I don't know if you can see, but it pops up an edge like that. Then what you can do is you should be able to get underneath, and then you can slide like a plastic pry tool. I just use my fingernails, and then I just go along while I'm kind of pulling up here. I'm also sliding my fingernail along to make it easier to pop up, as you can see. All right, so we're going to rotate over and go to this side. Same thing, this screw popped up this edge here, so I'm going to push down here and pull up like this. Okay, and then we're just going to go along the edge, same thing, pulling up the cover as I slide my fingernail along the edge or the gap. Okay, just like this. You can see it's popping these clips up. So we're going to go around to this side now, and same thing, while I'm kind of lifting this up, I'm just going to slide my fingernail along here. All right, just like that, and there we go. Okay, so now that we got the front part and the sides out, we might not have to do anything with the back, but let's see. Okay, so we got this, and nope, it's still somewhat stuck, so let's go ahead and see about popping that out as well. Okay, so again, I'm just sliding my fingernail along here. You can actually see what the clips look like here. Okay, and now we got the bottom cover off. All right, not too bad. Here you can actually see how the clips are designed. Okay, there's a lot of clips all around, and all around. All right, anyways, we're going to set that aside for now. That over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we got inside of here. So this computer has a lot of things going on. There's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive slot here. They have the hard drive caddy. There's 4 screws underneath this tape, and then they actually have the connector here. I don't know if it's actually connected. It's covered. No. Okay, so this cable's not actually connected anywhere, but if you do use it, you want it to connect up to this cable here because it says JHDD1. That's for the hard drive. And let me actually zoom in, but let me go ahead and use this for a thumbnail. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit here. Okay, and we'll use that as a thumbnail. All right, so now let's go ahead and I'll zoom in and kind of just go over what components there are here. So the main one people like to work on is the RAM. Apparently, if I don't say how many slots, people will ask me how many slots. There's 2. All right. Only one's being used. Here you can see PC4 2666V. So there you go. You can use any PC4 2666V. This is 8 gigs again. If you want, you can get 2 16 gig sticks and it should be fine. For most people, 8 gigs is plenty. So if you want, I would recommend at least putting one more stick so you have dual channel memory. If you only use one, it actually operates at a slower speed. So get another 8 gig matching stick, and then your computer will run quite a bit faster. If you need more RAM, then you can go ahead and do that too. All right, then you got the DC jack or charge port connector here. It's running underneath. You do have to take the hinge out to get to that. I'm not going to do that, but basically you remove these last 3 screws, and then you can kind of just pry up the hinge. If you're not strong enough or you can't get a grip underneath the hinge to lift it, what you do is you kind of open the computer a little bit, and then while it's open, undo the screws, and then when you let the screen close down, the hinge will stay up slightly and it'll be easier to get underneath to lift it out. Okay, as for the SSD that's in here, there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. It's one of these short ones here. I'm not going to take it out, but it is being held in with this bracket with these two screws. If you do decide to put the longer type of SSD, which is the more common M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, you don't need this metal bracket. In fact, you can't even use this metal bracket because these metal pieces that poke down will actually damage the SSD. So if you get a replacement SSD, keep that in mind. And this bracket, again, there's two screws here, then it kind of comes up slightly at an angle. This little thing is in the way, so you actually kind of have to swing it over to the side a little bit. But yeah, you got the speaker connector here, runs down to this speaker, and then a wire goes across the bottom all the way to the speaker here. It's not held in with screws, so you can just kind of lift it out. It's just held in with these rubber things, but I'm going to leave that as is. All right, you got the Dell battery here. Battery model numbers right there, YRDD6. All right, so if you need to replace your battery, that's the model. And you can disconnect it from either side. Because the replacement battery is not going to come with this cable, it's easier to actually just replace it from this side. And these kinds of connectors can be a little stiff and tough to remove, but basically just grab it and you kind of just keep wiggling it and eventually it will pop out. You don't want to force it out. Right, you got this larger cable here that runs underneath the battery to this board here, which is for the SD card slot. There's also the SD card slot, and then also a USB 3 port here. Okay, then it also has the sensor for the fingerprint sensor here, and then there's this small cable that runs over to the motherboard as well, and that says for the J power. I don't know. Oh, I see. So this is actually for the power switch. I believe, and then there's another one, JFP, wait, what? I'm confused now. Okay, so this fingerprint sensor goes over here. I don't know why there's two cables going into this and one's going underneath here. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to be taking everything out. If you're curious, you can go ahead and do that. Again, the only issue with this was the screen, so I don't want to mess around with that. Oh, that reminds me, I do have to disconnect the battery. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and zoom out. All right, I don't want to mess around with it too much because there is some risk involved with taking things apart. And if it's not broken, you don't want to mess around with it and then end up breaking something, and the customer will basically blame you, and then you'll end up having to work on more stuff for free. So that's why I don't completely disassemble these computers, and also they're on time crunches, so I can't just be pulling things apart. All right, so what I'm going to do now, there's this little foot here that gets caught, so you kind of have to wiggle it around to get it out. Okay, once you get that out, again, I'm going to disconnect it from this side. Okay, basically just grab the connector, okay, hold it tight, and you kind of just wiggle this. Let's see if I can get it from this side. Okay, wow, that's strong. Okay, there we go. So we got that connector out, and there's the battery. Okay, once you got the battery disconnected, because we are going to be working on the screen, replacing the screen, I'm going to slowly, carefully open up the computer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oops, let's get rid of this thing. What we're going to do now is press and hold the power button here. So we're going to press and hold that for about 15 seconds. This will drain any residual power from the computer and make it safer to work on. All right, so we'll just keep holding it a few more seconds. All right, I believe I already popped this thing apart. And this screen has a stretch release adhesive, but I removed that already. This is the LCD LVDS connector here, in case you're wondering. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure why this has two connectors going into it. That's interesting. All right, anyways, fan connectors right here. The fan has two screws, one here, and then I think you can just lift it up, but I'm not 100% sure. It might be caught underneath the heatsink, but if you need to mess with that, go ahead and do that. All right, again, I don't want to mess with that part of the battery connector. Oh, actually, the hard drive connector is connected right here, as you can see. All right, it blended in with the board. I didn't see that. Touchpad, trackpad connectors here. These all have these flip release tabs. So you flip this latch up and then you can pull the cable back out. When you put it back in, make sure the tab is up, then clip the tab back down. Keyboard backlight connector, keyboard connector here, and wireless card up here since I didn't mention that. There's one screw, and this plastic thing helps hold the antennas in place. Once you remove that, you can actually pull the antennas up by the tails. If you're not sure how to do any of these or remove any of these connectors, please watch some of my other videos, because I take apart these, or take these connectors out on most of them, and basically you can learn how to do that from the other ones. They basically will look exactly the same. Okay, anyways, we held the power button down now, so next thing we're going to do is work on getting the screen out. So the hinge covers here, they are latched together, so we are going to have to unlatch that. So what I do is I just use my fingernail. Again, you can use plastic pry tools, and as you can see, we're just going to pop this apart. Okay, so just get in there and pop that up. There we go, just like that. Okay, again, you can use plastic pry tools to do this, but again, I have these on hand and that's what I use. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and do that, and here you can see how easy it is to pop that up. All right, so we got both those out. Now we're gonna go ahead and slowly, carefully open up the screen. Let me zoom out a little bit more again for you guys, sorry. All right, and you want to carefully open this because now the hinge have 2 less screws helping hold it in place. All right, so we're gonna slowly, carefully open up the screen here, just like this. All right, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna pop this frame out, the bezel. The way you do that is you start from the middle, you lift, and you basically twist it up like that, and also push the bezel towards the center. There is some adhesive helping hold this in place, so you do want to go slow. Again, I did open this before, and that's why it's a lot easier to pull apart. Okay, so we're just going to go around, same thing around the edges. We're basically going to pull it inwards and then pull the centerpiece up. So we're basically rotating it like this. Okay, so I do it quickly, but basically that's what we're doing. Okay, so we're going down the sides now. Okay, now that we've got the sides down, we're going to rotate this over, and we're going to go ahead and get the front, this bottom piece out as well. Okay, so just like this, pull it forward. There's still adhesive holding that. I think there is. The screen is already broken, so I guess technically it's okay if I end up putting too much pressure and breaking the screen more. But again, if you're trying to remove this without breaking it, you want to go slow, be careful. There's adhesive here, as you can see. I'm actually sliding my finger in between to push the adhesive away from this bezel. Okay, we're going to do that all the way down. All right, I don't know why this side is stuck so strong here. There we go. Okay, and once you've done that and got all the clips out, you can see we can lift this out. Okay, and then, let me see, I forgot where, but there was a stretch release adhesive, but I took that out already, so I can actually lift or pull this screen forward. So, okay, I think I see where it came from. So, there was a stretch release adhesive underneath the screen that goes here, and then I think there's a little release tab that's up there that you can grab. Basically, you grab that tab and you pull it straight back with the screen. If you can't get it between this gap here, what you can do is you pull this slightly down, and then you use your finger to kind of pull it straight down as you keep pulling it out, and you just keep pulling it straight out as you keep pulling. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and remove the screen. Again, it's very important that before you remove this, you disconnected the battery and press and held the power button for about 15 seconds. All right, so let's go ahead and peel this piece up now. All right, so we're going to get underneath this adhesive and just peel that up. Okay, slowly, carefully. I'm kind of like rolling it up to try and keep all the adhesive on, but sometimes it can't be helped. All right, so there we go. Peel that all out. Oops, I should have zoomed in more. And then what you're going to do, there's a metal latch here. I use my fingernail again. We're just going to flip that up just like that. And then grab both sides kind of close to the bottom of the latch. And that's how we're going to pull the connector out just like that. If you're curious, this is the screen model number, though you do want to check the model number of your own screen because sometimes they use a different one, but here you go, NV156FHM-N3D. If you have a good return policy on your screens, then you can go ahead and just use this screen model number, but I highly recommend that you take your screen out and check this model number of your own. Alright, so we're going to set the screen aside now. And we're going to go ahead and get the replacement. Alright, let's go ahead and open this up. They usually box it up and then put it in a bunch of this, like UPS, USPS, bubble stuff. So, let's get rid of that. Alright. Whoa, they had a little toolkit in there that I dropped. But here's the screen. Okay, looks like this. As you can see. Alright, so let's see if it's the same. A lot of times they give me like not the same exact screen model number. It's usually like a compatible screen number. So let's go ahead and see here. NV156FHM. So this is N38 or N48. The other one was N3D, as you can see. Alright, and then because of that, I have to actually check and make sure that the connectors, let's zoom out here. Have to check and make sure that these connectors line up properly. Okay, so just line these up on the sides here, and you can see these line up. Sometimes they're slightly off, and then you also want to make sure that the connectors are the same size, because sometimes they'll use different ones. Alright, so oops, I accidentally got the screen stuck to that. Alright, so this is the old screen. We're going to set that aside. Hopefully it's the same. It is supposed to be a matte screen, but you can use glossy, and okay, it is matte, so that's good. Alright, so I don't know why they make so many different model numbered screens, but alright, let's zoom in here. We'll get this thing reconnected. I did accidentally get this unrouted from this because the screen, it's stuck to this other screen, but we'll just put it back afterwards. Alright, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get this lined up. Okay, and I kind of use the back part here with my fingers to help hold this folded back, the adhesive. Right, make sure the corner edges go in, very important. Get it lined up straight, and then you can, while you're holding both sides again using the bottom, pull it in. Alright, there we go. I'm going to use the metal latch first and click that back down into place. Okay. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and pull this slightly and stick that back on. Alright, and I do have the old adhesive that I took out from the back here that was attached to this metal frame. So I am going to actually go get that stuff, and I'll see about sticking it back on so I can kind of show you guys how it used to be. And yeah. Alright, so let me go get the adhesives and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So here's what the adhesive looks like, and it's like a stretchy thing. And basically, as you stretch it, it releases the stickiness. So I'm going to just put this back here. If I remember correctly, it was like this, okay? So basically, it sticks to this more solid metal piece. Alright. I don't know if it's going to stick as well because it's been just hanging for a while. But there we go. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get the other side and do the same thing. Okay. So we got both of these plastic or these adhesive tabs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this lined up here as well. And then we're just going to go ahead and stick that back down. Let go of my finger. Okay. Alright, anyways, I think I stuck it too high, so as you can see, as you stretch this, you can see the adhesive kind of releases, so that's kind of how it works. And again, you want to pull it straight down parallel with the actual adhesive, okay? So you don't want to try and pull it away from it. Sorry, there was a mosquito coming in. Alright, so let's go ahead and, oops, I accidentally stuck it to itself. Alright, there we go. And I don't remember if it like tucked in partially or if it was sticking out a whole bunch. But anyways, there we go, just like this. And then what we're going to do, we want to make sure to get the top corners of the screen in first. So what you can do, you can hold on to the screen. We're going to rotate this way so it's easier for you to see. I'm going to slowly lower the screen down. We're going to rotate this over, okay? And then again, while you're kind of holding this up, you want to get the top edge in first. So this top corner here. Then get the other top corner in, okay? All right, then you kind of don't want to hold this part because this board is more fragile. So we're going to go on these edges. And then while I'm kind of pulling it up towards the top, we can go ahead and slowly, carefully lower it down. Oops, I actually accidentally got that adhesive to get pulled underneath. So make sure that this adhesive release strip stays on top. Right, just like that. And make sure these get tucked back in. Okay. All right, give me a second, I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, my cat was like meowing at something. Anyways, make sure everything is lined up. Okay, looks good. All right, so next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna actually reconnect the battery and power it up before we put the frame on because we wanna make sure it's working okay. So let's go ahead and slowly, carefully close this up. If you want, you can help push down the hinge area to make sure it's getting better pressure or force. Okay, let's go ahead now and get the battery reconnected. We'll zoom in here so you can see how we do that. Basically grab hold of this, hold on to it tight, make sure you get everything lined up. Okay, and then go ahead and push that in. There we go. It helps to kind of use more force towards the plastic connector, not on the cables itself. So it looks like I'm pushing the cable, but I'm actually pushing more with my tip of my finger to that. Okay, let's go ahead now and zoom back out. And then we're going to get the battery back in. Again, it has to get tucked underneath, so get it into that slot. And then we'll swing that over, get that all lined up. Okay, put back the 3 screws that were holding it into place. All right, just like this. All right, if you're wondering where the BIOS or CMOS battery is, I don't see one. There's a very good chance that it's using the main battery as the BIOS or CMOS battery. Okay, now that we got everything back together, let's go ahead and carefully open it up again. And then what we're going to do, we're going to push on the power button and see if it turns on. Okay, so I see the keyboard lighting up, as you can see. And if I'm right about the BIOS thing, then the screen is likely going to take a while to come up. The keyboard is probably going to shut itself off and then turn itself back on and shut itself off a few times before it completely boots. But let's go ahead and see. There we go. Did take a while. Here you go. Warning, battery is critically low. Okay, so it's not a BIOS thing that it's giving. It's just saying the battery's low. So let me go get a charger and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back, plugged it in. The screen brightness actually went higher. If I unplug it, you can see it dims. Alright, so anyways, we're going to go ahead and continue. Oh, it's not touchscreen. Okay, so we'll continue. And I think it should boot up now. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to move the screen out of view. Okay, because I don't want it to show the customer login information. Some customers don't like that happening. Okay, so... Okay, it did boot up. You can actually see the date and time, February 1st, 1:11 a.m. Right, battery is completely dead. So, yeah. Anytime you make a big hardware change, it's always a good idea to do a restart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to here, click that, and I'm going to do a restart, okay? And restart anyways. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I am going to show now how to put the plastic frame back. Again, for these adhesives, as you can see, this is sticking out right now. So I'll somewhat demonstrate. Let me see if I don't know if I can do it with that. No. Okay, let me wait till this restarts and shuts off. Can I turn it off now? Okay. So this kind of adhesive, it's a stretch release adhesive. So as you can see, I can kind of stretch and pull it out. But you want to pull it straight along with the screen. You don't want to try and pull it up like this. So as you're pulling it, you can kind of use your finger to help push down and then pull it out, and then you can use your other hand to keep extending it up. So that way it's pulling straight out, but then you're keeping the extra slack like going up away. But anyways, let's go ahead now, and I stretched it a little and now it's coming out. But anyways, let's go ahead now and put the frame back on. Okay. Hide the frame. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna just put the plastic frame back on here. Again, it helps to have this screen or this thing more open, so that way you can get these pieces out. Okay, or under. Let's zoom out. Okay, so now we'll get this over into the hinge area. Okay, and then what we're gonna do, oops, I forgot, let's peel off this protective screen thing first. Okay, so we do have to peel this off first. And I like to roll it off. You don't want to just pull it straight up, because then it puts more pressure on the screen. So as you can see, I like to just roll it off like this. Okay, there we go. And we'll set that aside. All right, now we can go ahead and put this piece back on. Okay, get that all lined up. And then we're gonna go ahead and start with the edges here. So let me close this up so you can see. Right, so I'll just work my way around here. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing on the outer edge, so that way it has the ability to flip itself, rotate itself up, so that the clips can go back into place. Okay, there's some little like fibers here, so let's peel that. Okay, it's still stuck there. All right, so again, I'm just going along the outermost edge of it to get the clips in. And do the same thing over the sides. Okay, same thing on this side. All right, and then you can go across the middle if you want to push down that adhesive that used to be there, if it's still there. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing down here, pushing along the bottom, and then you can work your way towards the center. Okay, looks like it's good. Everything looks snapped into place. So now we're gonna carefully close the screen up again. Okay, and then make sure that these clip into place, so just pinch the two, make sure it clicks, pinch that, and make sure it clicks. There we go, and looks good. Okay, so now all we got to do is put back on the bottom cover, so easy peasy. All right, I'm going to leave it plugged in because the battery is almost dead. Okay, so we'll just move that over a little bit. Get this cover. Again, the these two corner screws already stay in place, so get this lined up. Make sure to click all of this down into place. Okay, make sure it gets lined up right. If it doesn't snap in, you might have to kind of lift it a little to get the clips to kind of tilt themselves out to clip easily. Okay, and then just keep going all the way around and clip everything in. There we go, easy peasy. Let's get this back in and tighten these corner screws in. Make sure all the clips around it are snapped down. Okay, there we go. All right. Make sure this is all good, and then we can go ahead and tighten this. And of course, make sure these clips are staying in place. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get the rest of these screws in. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, again, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if there were any components in here that you were kind of confused about and couldn't figure out how to remove on your own, or if you're new to working on computers and you don't know how to remove certain components, I do make a lot of computer repair videos, and the connectors, if you watch like two or three different videos, you'll pretty much know how to take apart almost every computer. If you watch all the videos on my channel, then you should be able to take apart pretty much everything. But yeah, so at least laptop and desktop wise. And then yeah, so anything other than that, feel free to ask questions and I'll see what I can do. But try to avoid asking dumb questions. I mean, most people won't know what the dumb questions are. But if it's something that can easily be answered by watching the video, try not to ask it. All right. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.